Well, I'm going to start with just a little welcome to everyone. If you've not been on these calls before, welcome to your first female affiliate owners call that we do every month. This is our March one, of course. And for Danielle and I, at least, it was priority number one when we were looking at what roundtable calls we wanted to host in March and during the open. So we appreciate you guys carving out time. We're trying to make it so that you can recurring like sign up, but because we keep changing the date, it's not the same day every month, so that you have to re-sign up every time as of right now. If we lock it into a certain time, then you might be able to do that moving forward, but we appreciate you guys all being here. I want to get to our special guests and talk about why we're here, but also just want to kind of introduce all of you, affiliate owners from all over the world. Maybe some of you are doing this as a solo event. Some of you have partners or significant others that are helping you. But regardless, you know the ins and outs of working with clients on the floor and behind the scenes. And this topic is going to be really exciting because many of you, I mentioned this last month, had already seen sort of gotten a heads up that this was starting a new program that we're excited to hear about. So without further ado, I was going to introduce, we've got Annie Thorisdottir here, and we've got Dr. Stacy Sims. I believe Katrin had to miss out this time, but
Yes.
obviously if she pops on, we'll highlight.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I just want to hand it over to Annie to start kind of a little bit about what their new training program is. And
Yeah. Well, first off, thank you for having me. And this is so awesome. I didn't even know that you had all of these phone calls and just like women affiliate owners. I think that's pretty cool to actually just get to be a part of like this phone call with you guys. So yes, it was kind of funny because very few people knew that this was something that me, Kat, and Stacy were doing. And then at Wadapalooza, we're just like, all right, we're gonna spread the information. And then I'm pregnant and Kat is getting ready for the season. We're like training program for women going through menopause. So I don't think a lot of people expected that, but maybe so you understand where that is coming from. Then during COVID actually brought great things to me as well. I was pregnant and I stayed at my parents' summer house, kind of like in isolation, had a full equipped gym and was lucky enough to have that set up. And my parents owned that summer house. So they came in and were training with us. And I was like, all right, my mom had these goals. And for years, she hadn't really like, I saw she was doing everything so well, but I was like, there must be something missing. There's something I'm not seeing. There's something that's not working. And so I was like, all right, let me take care of your diet. Let me take care of your training. And we'll just do this together for 3 to 4 months and just see what happens. And I feel like I know a lot when it comes to creating a strength program, creating fat burning. And when it comes to diet, I've been working with RP for a long time. So when it comes to nutrition, I feel like I know a lot. And I set up this program for her. I have this Pinoe, so I could even do like a resting test and test of her different heart rate zones, get her base metabolism and all of that. And I was definitely not putting her on a diet. It was more just like maintaining and like she wanted to lose weight, but I also knew that she wasn't eating enough and regularly enough. But yeah, there I got to just like go all in with her. And my dad jumped on the train too. And after those 3 or 4 months, my dad had a six pack. It was incredible. Born in 64, and he was just shredded and felt so good and was so fit and felt so strong. And my mom, she was more on it. She followed everything I said. She never missed a training session. And she felt better and she had more energy and more endurance. But at the same time, there were very small changes in her body composition. She felt a little bit stronger, but there was nothing compared to my dad. She maybe lost a couple of kilos. There was nothing really that happened. And I think I finally understood her frustration. And I could just see in her face that it was like, all right, I give up. Now we have tried everything. It doesn't matter. Like, I will just be happy with what I got right now. And it doesn't really matter what kind of training protocol I do or whatever. It is what it is. But she was super grateful. But I was so frustrated. I was kind of devastated that I wasn't able to figure out what was going on. And I've known of Dr. Stacy Sims since 2015. I reached out to her first time when I got my heat stroke. So I needed to figure out what kind of heat training protocol I had to do. And then I found her Women Are Not Small Men course, and I did that course, and I was mind blown that I didn't know this stuff. Like, I'm a professional athlete, and I did not know this stuff about training around my cycle, nutrition around my cycle, where I am in my cycle, what kind of heat training I had to be doing, and fueling during my training was changing. And it made a significant difference for me. So I was like, all right, I saw something about menopause there. Like, that was the only thing that I could think of that I did not know something about for my mom. So I dove in and I did the menopausal course, and I was so mad that I didn't know this stuff, but at the same time, I was so excited and motivated that I started writing Stacy, and I'm like, so my mom, I'm gonna try this out. What do you think about this here training protocol based on your course, and this here and this here? And I had my mom on this, and nothing, it was never a diet. It was never a huge change other than just changing what kind of training she was doing. And after a year, it was like a new person. Like, it was amazing. She had more energy. She was sleeping better. Her joints were feeling better. She lost weight. We're never been like stepping on the scale, but I could just, it was so incredible. I'm going to try not to cry here because it was so incredible that I could help her out with this. And at the same time, when I was talking with Kat, and I got so irritated that women don't know this, that not more people know this, that our doctors don't know this, that our coaches, like, we learn so many things, but yet we don't know this. And then I had multiple women in my gym starting to reach out when they saw my mom and what she was doing and all that, and women asking questions. I'm like, okay, I'm not an expert, but I know what training you should do, and I know what kind of fueling you should have. And then I kept on just telling them to do the course with Stacy. And then I just had a call with Stacey, and I'm like, we need to create something for women, because also if I started thinking about 40, 50, 60, even 70-year-old, we can't tell them like, you need to go and do weight training. It's like, are they supposed to figure out what kind of weight training? Are they supposed to go into the gym and do this themselves? So Stacy was excited to be a part of it, and we've been working on this for now a year. So we're bringing out not only like training for women, but the educational platform too, because I think we need to know what it is that's going on in our bodies so that it can help us. It's not just a 6-week thing or half a year thing. This is our body for the rest of our lives. And the funny thing is, when I first thought of this and like what me, Stacy, and Kat were doing this together, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna talk with like these guys and these guys that would just hear from different people and what kind of app we should be doing, or what kind of like if they could help with videos creations and stuff like that. And 2 of those that I talked with were men, and they were like, but the market group is just so small. I was like, you guys are idiots. We're 50% of the public, like, we're women. And hopefully all of us will go through menopause. So I was like, I am not doing this with men. I am only working with women. And my husband, he knows more about menopause than I do. I'm lucky when I go through those years. But yeah, so that's my story. That was a really long story, but I feel like it makes you maybe understand why we're doing what we're doing. And it is meant to help women get control of their lives again, feel like they can be them again, feel like they can work with their bodies, not against it, and get control over those peri and postmenopausal years. So, Stacy, I took it away.
That's awesome. I feel like that's the first time I've heard the full story. I've heard parts of it across, and so now I'm like, oh yeah, I feel emotional too. Where, the whole idea behind it is to look at an external stress to allow your body to adapt how it used to with hormones. And so we really had to dig into physiology and understand how estrogen, progesterone, and some bits of testosterone affect every system. So if we're looking, for building muscle, we need to tap into central nervous system. So this is where we're looking at heavy lifting. If we're looking at getting metabolic control and less visceral fat and changing body composition, then we have to look at polarizing, have that high intensity, really hard work to give the body that strong external stimulus. So, the traditional methods don't work, as Annie's mom and Annie found out. So when we start looking at how do we actually work with the changing hormones in our physiology, then we get really cool results in a shorter amount of time.
This is really exciting. Um, I
We're
know I feel like there's probably questions about specifics, but I don't want to get into too much of like the weeds and about your actual program, as I'm sure that's why you want people to buy the program. But if people have specific
Oh, we can
questions, they
answer
want.
anything. I want
Yeah.
just we want just everyone to have this information, to be
I
honest.
think I think for
Yeah.
then I'm like, bring it on. But I think I love the approach that you guys are already taking and kind of the way it's being marketed, where we're showing the bodies that we see on a daily basis. This is what we all see in our affiliates. And but I also really appreciate the language that you guys are using now and how you're approaching it, and the focus being on the women and where they're at, and not that something's wrong or that they're not the majority. So just kind of
Mhm.
go along with everything that's always been, or even I think there's a lot of, I wouldn't say blame, but I think a lot of people, if they don't see results, maybe your mom felt this too, Annie, that they'll internalize that I did something wrong, or there's something wrong with my body because it works for
Yes.
everybody else, but it doesn't work for me. So I think there's a huge psychological component to this. And I think one of the
Yeah.
things I saw about your guys' program that you also have is building in that support system beyond the education, beyond the actual program, is also there's like that support network, whether it be by a group or if you guys are going to be doing calls, or I don't know quite how it's going to play out yet. But I was curious about that as well. And if it's something that we could either replicate or add to, or bring our communities toward that kind of a thing.
So yeah, that's a closed Facebook group that we have for the women that are on the program. And that's where Stacy will be then going with like when it's like obviously we will be answering questions and she'll be answering questions. But then when it's like very common questions that are coming for women, maybe a little bit more deep dive, then she'll be answering there once a month, once in every 6 weeks. Just go through the list of the most common questions that women have, something that they're feeling, because like you said, and that's what is so important, like it weekly. So in this takeoff program, weekly, there is a lecture from Stacy, and each of them has something specific that she's going to teach or letting them know about. And in the first one, she just goes through what is menopause, like what is happening in your body and what are the things that you can be feeling. And that's exactly what you were talking about. What that's so important is like, you're not going crazy. You don't have to be taking medication for this and that and that and that. It is, these are parts of going through menopause. And she goes through it in such a positive way where it's, this is normal. And it doesn't mean that you're losing control. It doesn't mean that you're going insane. And there are things to do to manage some of these things and make you feel better. And yeah, that's why that Facebook group we felt like would be really important to have somewhere where it's safe for those women to talk about the things that they are also going through and bring out the questions. We love the questions.
Yeah. Because I'm really tired of the narrative of people talking about menopause and all the negative things. It's like you see it everywhere. People are so afraid of menopause and what it's going to do, where the lectures are scoped to show, this is what's happening, but this is how we can take control and what we can do so we aren't feeling helpless. Because so many women think they have to automatically go on menopause hormone therapy because they hear all the stuff about menopause as female deficiency hormone syndrome. We have to replace our hormones, but it's an actual natural state of aging that every woman goes through. So the whole entry part of this is to explain exactly what's going on and why we have to make these changes. And I know from all my years of experience in this that people do have questions, and some of them are a little bit strange because they feel like that no one else is going through it. But there is never a strange or odd question because everybody's a little bit different, but we all go through a physiological change. So to have that support in a group and be able to answer those questions is so important because, like the app's called, empower. That's what we're out to do, empower every woman across every life phase. And this is a really important life phase because we end up spending 1/3 or more of our life in a postmenopausal state. And I know that I'm not aging out at 40, but none of us should be aging out at 40. But I feel like that's what society has made us think, that we all age out at 40.
I know one person was asking the name of the Facebook group. I think it's a private and you get access if you're a part of the program. Is that correct?
Yeah. So
Yep.
it's called Empower by Dottir, the Facebook group, because there's so many Empower groups. But yeah, so Empower by Dottir, but the reason we're keeping it private and not letting everyone in is because I don't want to get bombarded with messages from or men that might be joining or
Yep.
whoever. We want to make sure it's actual women that are going through postmenopause.
Have you guys launched the program or is this still like in teaser phase and it's not active yet?
No, so we've had a handful of women that started going through it in January. And then we had about 30 women that we let in this Monday that started. And then we're launching it this coming Monday. So the 11th of March is when the first group will start, but we're opening up for signups for it tomorrow.
Awesome. That's perfect timing for this call. Thank you.
Yeah.
Katie Thompson was asking if this is something that you think would be beneficial for us affiliate owners to become a member, from the affiliate owner's perspective, to learn, be educated, see the program, or if it would be more to have the athletes in this target audience, encourage them to sign up individually. So they're members of my gym, but I know they would benefit from this program, from the support network, and I could help, facilitate what their training is, or both was the question. What do you guys see? And we talked a little bit about this, Annie, when I reached out and I was like, I want to get you in front of a bunch of affiliate owners, but I know you might not be ready to launch this on the affiliate level. This isn't like a programming for affiliates yet. Maybe there might be a track for that, but I don't know if you guys have talked at all about that. If you have any opinions, love to hear.
Yep. Yeah, so I mean, the education component is what's unique about it, where most of the time you just get a snippet, but these are 20 to 30-minute deep dives each week. So if you really want to learn the ins and outs of what's going on, then jumping into the app and learning that. You guys are really ace at programming and understanding the workouts. But the combination of the two is super powerful. So as affiliate owners, to really learn to be able to help your clients and women who are going through this, I think is really beneficial. And then at the same time, the women who want the deep dive also would benefit. So I would say both, right? But for me, looking at how we impact women, I always go for the person that has the most impact. And that's how I've had to kind of compound my work too, is look at who can have the highest touch points. Let's educate, let's really get after that. So I really want to do both, but if you have to choose, then I would go affiliate owner programming and that kind of stuff. But yes, Annie and I and Katrin have talked about really trying to build this up so it can be an affiliate program. So you can buy into the programming and the education, and have that gym wide.
Yeah. Katie Hunsberger, a different Katie, so many of us on this call, wrote a question kind of right after that. Tell me if that did that kind of answer yours as well a little bit, Katie Hunsberger? Yours was sort of about taking the information back to your members.
Yeah, I guess I would like to know how to handle, I mean, we serve such varied populations. Obviously, not everyone that we are dealing with is going through perimenopause or menopause. So I would like to hear how you think we would take your program and apply it in a gym setting where we are dealing with people in their 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, like teenagers. Yeah, I'd like to hear a little bit more about that, I guess.
Yeah. So when I'm,
sorry, you go, Stacy.
okay, as I say, when I'm working with people who are fully into CrossFit, I tell them, look, you have to look at what day you want to focus on. So if you know the programming of your gym, which a lot of people do in advance, and you see there's a big heavy lifting section, then that's your focus of the day. And then the Metcon becomes more technique or just moving. Or if you see that it's not so much of the heavy lifting, but more focus on capacity work, then that becomes your HIIT programming. So if you're an affiliate owner and you understand what is happening with regards to the peri and postmenopause, then you can help guide those women that are in your class specifically. Like you could have a conversation and say, well in advance. And then when they come into class and they're kind of like, oh, I don't know what to focus on, you could say, okay, well, you did Metcon and capacity the other day. So today let's really focus on the heavy lifting. So you can guide them through the week based on your own programming in the mixed levels and mixed ages classes.
Yeah, exactly. And I would say, so I've been thinking a lot about this for my own affiliate. And the way my mom has been doing it, she's been then focusing on, she does her lifting session 2 to 3 times. Well, she always does it 3 times a week. And then she does a partner workout because at my affiliate, there's always a partner workout on Saturdays. So she and my dad always do their partner workout together still on Saturdays because they want to continue to be a part of the affiliate. But as an affiliate owner, like Stacy said, if you have this information, then you know more what this group needs. And honestly, like if you, depending on how many members you have and depending on what age groups you have in there, how I'm thinking about it for our affiliate, testing it out, is having it then I want the women to sign up so that they have the app and they get the information themselves. But I also want to be able to answer their questions, right? So I have a class that comes together and we just met this Monday. And then I go through just one of the workouts from that programming, and then they can do their own on Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday. And then I meet up with them again Monday after. But that way you get these women kind of together and they can come together and do their training together. Or like Stacey said, if you have, like we have at my gym, we have on Tuesdays and Thursdays, we have weightlifting classes. And then maybe that's where they go for their lifting sessions. But you might need to help them adjust because the lifting session, if it is high rep and just like pumping session, then you need to change it so that it fits for them. So they're getting their 2 to 3 minute break between their lifting sets. But that's where it comes in, you knowing what they need a little bit more, or them having an understanding. They can still do the class and they can make the adjustments that's needed for them to get the most out of your programming. And honestly, like as an affiliate, if that's something that you can offer women as well, it puts you on another level. Like
it does.
women
100%.
need this. They need this.
Yep.
I think of it of just even having a direction to point them to. I feel like when people have approached me with this, as a woman who has not been in that, I'm clueless. I'm like, I don't even know where to direct you. Let me go do some research. I don't have an answer for all of that. So the fact that there is just actually somewhere to point them now is really exciting. One of the questions was, would you, I'm curious about the answer to this, if we would consider this more for the average more new athlete, or more for people leaning towards elite or competitive, or anything in between, everything, anything?
All levels. All levels.
Yeah, that's what I was
Yeah.
hoping. I was like, the body is still going to go through these regardless of your fitness level, right? So if you're brand new compared to if you're trying to compete at the Masters games, there's still,
Yeah.
you're still going to get information that's important and could really help you either optimize performance or, really maximize fitness.
And you might have the elite athletes or women that have been training for a long time. All of a sudden, the training that they're doing isn't doing what it used to do, if that makes sense, because of the changes that are happening in their body. So then they need these adjustments. And then you have women that have maybe never trained in their life and never lift a barbell. And dude, they need this even more. Like,
Yeah.
they're already a little bit behind and they need to get into it. They need to start learning to lift weights. So that's what we're kind of excited to see with our programming, is that, is it going to be enough what they're getting there, or do they need even more hands-on? But that's what we have. Like, the start of each day, we're talking about what the intent of the day is, what they're going to be going through, like a 2-minute video. And then there's a warm-up, specific warm-up, where they see the movements demonstrated. And then it's the main piece where they see the movement demonstrated and the warm-up sets are put in as well. And then there's accessory work and there's a mobility flow for them to follow. So I am hoping that a 50-year-old that has never gone to a squat rack before will feel like I am there holding her hand and Stacy's there telling her why she's doing what she's doing, and she's going to feel confident enough to actually approach to the bar. But obviously for some of those it can be so intimidating. So therefore it's always nice to have someone that has eyes on you, or have a group that you can go into and you can bring out the questions or ask the questions that you need to be asking. So yeah, for everyone, this was a long answer for that.
Yeah.
Does anyone have questions specific to the program that you guys were looking to learn more about at this stage? I put the link to Empower by Dottir. That landing page has a join now button. It has information about the different membership packages from monthly to yearly and in between. So as there were some asking, how do I do this? Annie, does the programming specify what each athlete should do depending on what phase of the process they're in, peri, post, et cetera? Is it geared towards that?
Well, the biggest changes happen in perimenopause. So the whole idea is to get people started as early as possible. So if we're looking at, where you are in a stage, it's never too late to start, but the earlier, the better. So we see the biggest changes happening in the about 4 to 5 years before that one point in time menopause. And this is a time where most women are really confused, like, what is going on? None of my training is working for me. So we start implementing these changes earlier than when they get into postmenopause. It's already a habit. But if they've gone through it and they're hitting postmenopause and they're still frustrated with body comp and strength and bone density, starting the program then is still going to be superior to anything, because we see 6 months of jump training, plyometrics type stuff with resistance training take someone from osteopenia to normal bone density and changes body comp really quickly. So, there isn't, oh, I'm 2 years away from menopause-ish, then I better start this program. It's, if you're in your early to mid 40s, you want to start doing this kind of stuff to attenuate the body comp changes and attenuate the muscle mass loss and everything that goes with perimenopause into postmenopause. So yeah, I guess that's a long-winded answer to say, take control early so there's less changes that occur with the physiological differences.
I think you guys started to touch on this a little bit both separately, but what Stacy was asking, what specifically, if you guys could give an example, maybe, what specifically is different about the recommendations for women in these stages? An example kind of follow-up question would be, is it mostly strength bias? Is it intensity bias? Like, what would be maybe an example of something, maybe the mistake would be doing this, but then what we found, it would be that, or what our program has would be that.
Yeah, so the recommendations really are 3 times a week making a concerted effort to do heavy strength training. So we're looking at the power-based strength training, and that's the big rock. And then the complementary, or the other things for more metabolic control, is 2 sprint interval training sessions. So not running sprints, but that high end 30 seconds or less, 9 to 10 on an RPE of 1 to 10, and then 1 Metcon hit, which might be every minute on the minute kind of thing. So it ends up being 3 lifting and 2 to 3 of the intensity. But what we don't want is, we don't want people to fall into that moderate intensity work, because that's where we see the biggest issue, because women are already sympathetically driven. We already have a greater amount of cortisol. So when women fall into that moderate intensity, that's when things really start to go wrong. So I always use examples like, you don't want to do F45 or Orange Theory or any of that kind of stuff, because that squarely is moderate intensity. You don't get any changes. And this is where we see the biggest injury rate. We see the biggest joint issues. We see biggest amount of the serial fat gain, even though people are exercising. So it's really important to understand this program is all about building strength, resilience, and polarizing the intensity of the cardiovascular work, because again, we're looking for those external stressors that are going to create adaptive changes. So they have to be super strong stress.
Perfect. That was really helpful. Shannon had a question happening at the same time that said, is there a sample of the program? I feel like that kind of encompasses it, unless you guys do post a sample somewhere that they could find. Or if that's kind of like your summation right there.
Well, it will probably be posted on social media at some point. Like, we have the video ready for it. We just haven't posted it yet. But there is it is the first one, the takeoff. That's like a 6-week where you get all the education as well. And then it will just be like a subscription thing. And in the 6-week one, that's 4 sessions a week. 3 of those strength-based, like Stacy was talking about, and the sit is in there. And then 1 of those is going to be HIIT. So that's like the how the programming will be structured during the week. Then 1 of those days is like active recovery, optional if women want to, optional breath work. And on those days will be like the lectures that Stacy talked about. It's like the anywhere from 20 to 30 minute deep dives where you just learn. And I saw there was a question about the nutrition related versus training or other. We're not going to be doing like individual nutrition advice, but of course there's a deep dive into nutrition, what women need to be making sure that they're fueling with. And that's the same, like, it's very interesting that so many women go for the more steady state when it comes to training, moderate weights and steady state, like fat burning. And it's the same with nutrition. It seems like we're just drawn more towards carbohydrates, or we even forget to eat, and all the different diets that are out there, like keto and fasting and all those different like hot topics. So there's a deep dive that goes into all of that, where Stacy talks about all of those different things, and everything she talks about has very good research behind it, which is why she's like, yeah, I'm still just so grateful I found her.
That's so exciting. It looked like she might have accidentally hopped off, so hopefully she's able to get back in. There was a question from Amy about, as an owner, it's important to her that she participates in the class workouts. She engaged with the community to probably feel what they're feeling, many other reasons. But what do you think about incorporating class workouts into your programming along with the Empower program, and how do you think that might fit?
That's the thing. It will definitely work. You just need to choose what of those days. I don't think you should stop programming the normal programming that you do for your CrossFit classes, because people also love the long AMRAPs or the long chippers or whatever, even though that might not be exactly what your menopausal women should be doing, or you should then be doing whatever like stage you would be in. But then you can join the lifting classes, and you can join the 2 minutes on, 3 minutes off classes, or whatever. It's like, I'm guessing that you also program those workouts in there at least once a week that you should definitely then be a part of and do. And that's what I do at my gym. And like, for interval training, like the partner workouts, if that's something you do, that also works as well, because then you're resting, going. It's about getting that stimulus where you just get to go hard and you get a little bit of rest, and then you get to go really hard again. That's why it's the sit and the hit workouts that you can be hitting, and then you can be doing the lifting classes. And at least for us, like, people usually don't like just lifting, but then if you have focus on the lifting for you, and then the workout is just complementary, something that you just do in there. And I would make sure, if you're in those years, then make sure that you're getting proper protein, like immediately after, preferably a little bit before, and then immediately after, so that your body doesn't just continue to break down your muscles.
Stacy and then Katie was kind of chiming in about how this is going to be really hard to get this information to be adhered to, when the common feeling among women in this age group and even younger is that, cardio is king, was kind of the phrasing, not sprints or strength training. And to kind of, it's almost for some people a complete flip, a complete reversal of everything they've ever been told, either by doctors who, I don't want to make any blanket statements there, but you just, it's going to depend on who you get when it comes to that information. So I think first off, I'm excited about the information that you guys are going to be putting out, that Dr. Stacy Sims is going to be talking about on the weekly basis. But additionally, do you guys have anything you're looking to do in terms of your marketing, like maybe on your Instagram, that's going to start to maybe combat some of these mistakes? I feel like I've already seen some of the videos with either Katrin's mom or your mom doing sprints on the bike. And I'm like, okay, they're not showing like steady state. They're showing that kind of stuff and lifting. So I don't know how much of a focus it is for you to kind of like get rid of all that noise. This is where it's at.
I honestly think gradually we will see more and more, because there is more and more research being done on women, and also at this age being done on women and going through these years. And that research is showing, like, everything is showing this is what they need to be doing. But that's why it was so important to me. It's not enough just to like, this is what you should be doing. I think, especially as women, we want to know why we're doing the things we're doing. And with having the understanding, we will get motivated and excited to do it. So that's why the first step is for you guys to know as affiliate owners, and then it's maybe for them to get directed to some of these materials where they can start seeing, oh, you're right, you are right, we should be doing this, we should be doing that. And it's not like they're not going to be sweating. You're going to be sweating, and you're going to feel like you're doing hard work. And doing those sprints is not going to be easy, and they're not used to going super hard. They're used to that more medium range. Like, I have to push my mom. I need to sometimes just look at her monitor and be like, what are you doing? I know you got more in there. And then I see her having more in there. But that's sometimes the push we need. And that's why it's so good to have like at least 2 to 5, even more women that are doing it together, because they get competitive, they get excited. And then they're going to have those hit sessions in there, the EMOMs in there, where they're working for 30 seconds and getting a rest. And that's where they're going to get to really sweat and feel it. But we will also be posting, and if you follow actually just Stacy on Instagram, if you find Dr. Stacy Sims on Instagram, you're going to see a shit ton of really good posts and really good research behind a lot of these things. And that's what we will be sharing on our channels too. Why should you be doing this kind of strength training? Because it also matters what kind of strength training it is. It matters that they get the right amount of rest, and they don't like to just sit down for 2 to 3 minutes. Like, they need to understand why they're doing it. And that's why it's really good to be able to share some of those posts or some of those articles that also just motivates them to do it more, if that answered it. Yeah,
absolutely. I think I'm someone that used to really like programming, and now I really like scaling and modifying. Like, I will take someone else's program any day of the week and adjust it to myself, my clients, someone else's needs. So what I love about learning what is best for this age group, which is a lot of my client demographic already, and family members, of course, is who I'm thinking of right now. I'm thinking of the workout of the day, leave it as is, but certain days I may need to really switch that up for them into a strength-based day, or this is the way the workout is written for everyone, but they're going to be doing the same movements. They're just going to be doing it in EMOM style. And initially, I know there are some people or members of the gym that don't like when something is different. This is where, for me, I'm just speaking my interactions as a coach to my athletes. I have that conversation over the long term that like, everyone is on their own path. Everyone's getting different modifications. Sometimes yours is going to look like this. So that you're still in the class workout, but it's going to be EMOM style, right? And so as the clock is going, you're going to be interval rest. So I think there is a way for us as owners to kind of build this into our already existing program once we get the information. And I know that isn't always an easy sell for some people. I'm not going to deny that, but I think there's a way. Like, I don't want people to just kind of dismiss it, because this is so important. And if we know that that is going to benefit, like, find that way.
I love that, because then you're actually just giving them the option instead of just not, they can choose if they want to, but you're at least giving them the option.
Yeah. Nicole was saying about building a trusting relationship, maybe holding clinics for women in our affiliates or in these stages, and pass on the information. As coaches, our athletes look up to us and trust us. And when we're well informed, they trust us. Absolutely. In the same way you would want to send your coaches to get information about Olympic lifting, or, this is just another specialty that they can become well-versed in. And I was thinking of it too. It could be a really cool way to have like a small group where people can come to classes, but we do a once a week small group training. Sign up for this at my gym, and we go over sort of the focus of the week and how your training might look a little bit different in certain classes. And if they're following along with the program, they can ask questions and you can kind of help them through that. Let's see. The chat is kind of hopping a few times. I love the idea of clinics, even if it was virtual, 100% on board. Just organize our group. If there was a sampling of, to get a sampling of this information so they know why we're encouraging them with these modifications. One of our coaches worked with Dr. Sims over the last few months. So many more people need this message. Absolutely. And then Jean was saying, we have a member who successfully reversed osteopenia, and her story has inspired quite a few women. So yeah, I think getting the stories out, right, is a big part of that.
I also want to say though, that it's also important, if women love to go out for a long run, you shouldn't stop going out for a long run. You should continue to do that if that gives you that like mental break and stress release, and if it makes you feel good. You just need to make sure that you're complementing it with strength training. It's not going to help build you up. It's going to break you down more. And you need to make sure that you're then fueling enough correctly, and you continue to do your strength training. So even for like triathletes, marathon runners, like Stacy has worked with a lot of those that all of a sudden just weren't able to continue to do the training that they used to be doing. And they were just getting slower and slower and breaking down. And then by modifying their training and changing it, they were able to continue to improve and be good and stay where they wanted to be in their game. So I think it's important that we're also not telling women that they can't do what they want to be doing. We're just telling them that they also need to be lifting weights.
Absolutely. Looks like Flavia was saying that both her and her business partner are both in the menopausal state, and was wondering if both should sign up or just one. And they're also launching what they're calling a legacy program. Is that sort of like master's age group class or program? I don't know where Flavia is in.
Yeah, it's a menopause, older
age group.
But imagine, if someone is not, has never done fitness and they're 50, will probably be appropriate for them there too.
Awesome. So
I love that.
Yeah.
I would say just start up by one of you guys, and then you see if it's something that both of you, because so if it makes sense to you guys, I don't know if you're going to be able to see it, but like in the app, you'll be able to put in like your numbers. So on the first day, for example, you're building your way up in a heavy 5 on a back squat. Heavy 5, we do talk about it there. It's whatever feels comfortable for you for a 5 in a back squat on that day. But then the app is then going to calculate what kind of percentages you're going to be using based on your numbers for the accessory work. If it's an 8-kilo kettlebell or a 12-kilo kettlebell or a like 4-kilo kettlebell, like it will tell you what you should be working on based on the number that you have for your upper body, lower body pull, and lower body squat. So of course, if you have it for yourself, you're going to get everything individual based for you, but you can always sign up one and then you just put in numbers for each one of you and you see ish the percentages and see ish what you should be doing.
Awesome. Anyone have any other questions since we're kind of rounding out? Would we want to do the 6-week on-ramp or just sign up for the monthly membership?
6-week on-ramp. You 100% want to do that one. That's where you get the deep dives. That's where you get all of the major education that Stacy is bringing to the table. And then on the monthly subscription, that's where the program continues. And that's where we'll be giving updates and more of deep dives and more specific topics. But on the 6-week, that's where you get like the base package. And that's what I would say that you should definitely start off with.
Awesome.
And if you want even more, let's say that you do that and you're like, wow, this is so amazing and I want to learn even more, then you can always go on Stacy's website and she has like, I don't know how many lectures on the different topics going through menopause, but that will take a few weeks to go through, and it's just education. But that depends on how how committed you are with it. I would say everything that you get in there is going to be like, you're going to get what you need because you're going to get what's happening. You're going to get the base understanding. You're going to get why we're doing strength training, why we're doing sprint interval training, why we're doing plyometrics, why we're doing like why the nutrition that we're talking about. So in those, and also talking about just like normal menopause or if it's medical menopause, and yeah, just different trends that are going on. You'll get a lot with just those 6 weeks.
This is exciting. I'm pumped. Anyone have any other questions? I know it's like late into the evening for Annie, so. Awesome.
Amazing. Well, I'm so happy that I got to talk to you guys because this is such a, yeah, it's a very passionate project that we've been working on. And honestly, for me, I think the most important thing is that I want as many women to get this information as possible. I want as many people to spread the information as possible because it is needed. It's not accessible enough. There's too much also right now, just misleading information that is spreading around on what women should be doing. And honestly, like, we can't expect all women to go and read the research and gather the information themselves. So I am just hoping this will change women's lives all over the world the same way that for my mom. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Annie, for taking the time to be on with all of us. Thank you for sharing the story of you and your mom. That really meant a lot. Please thank her on our behalf that you were sharing with the world.
I will.
But I think it's so relatable for us, for ourselves, for our family, for our clients. And so it really means a lot. And thank you for helping. This was so an accident. I did not mean to be cheesy, but to empower us to feel like we have knowledge to pass on. That I definitely did not mean to walk into that pun, but truly, I feel like if I have the knowledge, I can help my clients. And that's why they come to me for help and for answers. And I don't, so we appreciate it. Everyone's blowing you up in the chat. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And we're so excited for your next little one on the way. So hopefully you have a smooth 3rd trimester here. You're in the home stretch.
Thank you. I appreciate it. And thank you guys for taking the time. And I really hope that this is going to help all of you guys out and your members.
All right.
All right.
Thank
Have a
you.
nice rest of your day or night.
Bye.
Bye.